So guys, we're gonna jump straight into this video, and as you can see here, bro, this USC chosen team is currently 5-4 as I'm recording this video, and believe it or not, this team is also the third worst team in the entire Pac-12, and we're not even in the year of 2024 yet, and we haven't even started conference play. Y'all can call me crazy, bro. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, and I know this team has the potential #1 pick in the 2024 NBA draft, Mr. Isaiah Collier, and I know they have the prince himself, the son of this man, LeBron James. I know they got Bronny James. I ain't gonna lie, bro, I really am just a little bit worried about this USC team, and if this team continues to struggle like how they have been so far this season, this team just might miss the March Madness tournament out there in March, and instead of playing basketball in March, bro, this team might be booking a flight to Cancun to turn up during spring break, or this team might be playing in the NIT tournament. Now, like I said before, this team currently is 5-3 without this man Bronny James, 0-1 with Bronny James in the lineup, and as you can see here, some significant wins that they've managed to bring in are against teams like Kansas State, which was the first game of the year. You guys know Kansas State is typically a pretty solid team. I ain't gonna lie, the more I'm actually looking at their schedule, this win against Kansas State just might be the only decent win on the year. You'll see here their other 4 losses come in a variety of ways. They lost to teams like USC, which pretty much shocked everybody and their mama. And then they lost against Oklahoma, who I don't believe was actually ranked at the time whenever they lost to them. But that's when we actually saw the emergence of Javion McCollum, who is easily one of the most underrated players in the entire country. And now Oklahoma is ranked as the 11th ranked team in the nation as well. And then they lost to Gonzaga, who pretty much does not need no introduction. And finally, they recently lost to Long Beach State, which was Bronny James's debut for USC. Now, in my personal opinion, I feel like Gonzaga is really the only team that is pretty much understandable of why they took a loss. But the rest of these teams like UC Irvine, Long Beach State, like whenever you lose against teams like this very earlier on to the season, to me, it's just not a good start to your season. It's not a good trajectory of what your team is going to be later down the line. Guys, I've said it in a lot of my past videos. This USC team right here, they need help in a lot of areas. And I genuinely feel like they need to figure out what is the exact identity for this team. What is their play style? What type of plays are they going to be running? Can their players on their team even coexist? You guys know they're led by the #1 potential pick in the 24 draft, Mr. Isaiah Collier, or in my recent video, I'm going to be starting to refer to this man Isaiah Collier as Mr. cannot hit a free throw in a clutch situation to save his life. But currently, Isaiah Collier is averaging 17 points, 4.2 assists on 49% from the field. And the part that I personally feel like is hurting this entire team the most is definitely his 4.4 turnovers a game. I definitely feel like this is a super important pivotal portion of this team that just needs to improve. I mean, as your lead guard, as your lead point guard on this team, you just cannot be averaging more turnovers, you know, than assists. And I've been on record, bro, I'm a huge fan of Isaiah Collier. I've been saying this for the past few months, the past few years actually, that this man Isaiah Collier could potentially be the best pure point guard that I've personally seen and a lot of people have seen, and it's going to be the next wave of the NBA within the last 10 years. I genuinely believe that, and I think Isaiah Collier just has too much talent to just not be a successful player on the next level. I mean, the way he can see the court, the way he sets up his teammates for success, the flashiness, the type of passes that he can make in any type of angle. He's also very underrated when it comes to attacking the rim, finishing at the rim with either hand. And I generally feel like if he can improve in some of these areas and also improve his shot making ability, especially from the 3-point line, this kid Isaiah Collier, bro, I'm telling you, he really has the full package. And I think it's really just going to take the right coaching and the more games that Isaiah plays for this USC team heading into March, I think his game is definitely going to improve. And I'm still a believer that Isaiah Collier is going to be fine for this team. Now, Boogie Ellis is another player that we have to talk about. He's the running mate for Isaiah Collier, and in my personal opinion, he is easily the most consistent player on this team. I mean, I personally would expect that, him being a 5th-year senior. I believe right now he's top 15 in scoring in the entire nation, averaging around 21 points a game, shooting 47% from the field, which is pretty good, and also shooting in the middle 40s with his 3-point shot as well. He's already had a few games where he's damn near touched 30 points, finishing with 28 points in some of these games. One of them was against a big-time school being Gonzaga. And I ain't gonna lie, bro, initially, I really thought that he was going to pair well with Isaiah Collier, but the more I watch this team, the more I'm just questioning if this duo can actually coexist. I just feel like this pairing is definitely going to need some more time to gel, figure out each other's play styles, figure out where each other needs to be on the floor. And I generally feel like once Isaiah Collier finds his footing, gets his groove going, I do think this dynamic could potentially work for this USC team. But in regards to this man, Boogie Ellis, I mean, as you can see, he's been continuing to improve his game in all areas, his shooting, his efficiency, his IQ, just every single part of the game. And I genuinely believe that he's going to be the most important player and most pivotal player for this team to succeed this season. Now, despite everything that I just said about Boogie Ellis being the most important player on this team, I just feel like it's really, really important to note that Bronny James is also on this team. And with Isaiah Collier and Boogie Ellis being the 2 point guards and shooting guards on this team, I'm just wondering just how much minutes and how much action Bronny James is really going to see on the floor. I mean, like I said in the past, there's just no way that Bronny James is going to be starting over a player like Isaiah Collier, who's the main floor general for this team and a potential top pick in the draft. Bronny James is not getting minutes over Isaiah Collier, at least significant minutes on that team. Same thing with Boogie Ellis. Like I said, the most important player, the most experienced player on this team as well, that is also shooting the ball well from the floor and improving in every single area. So where exactly does Bronny James fit on this team? In my personal opinion, I know a lot of people may call me crazy, but I actually think that Boogie Ellis should probably actually come off the bench and Bronny James should potentially start on this team. I know a lot of people are going to be asking, where does Bronny James fit on this team? Is he going to be a defensive specialist? Is he going to be a catch and shoot guy? Is he going to be a defensive stopper? Is he a 10+ point per game scorer? Like, what is the ceiling? What is the expectations for Bronny James? Like I said, if I was the coach for USC, I'm definitely starting Bronny James at the 2 guard position. Let Boogie Ellis come off the bench, bring you a different level of scoring, because you guys know Bronny James is not a here's the ball, go get me a bucket type of player. He's an energy guy. He's a guy that's going to play defense very well. He has a high IQ, and he's going to be a guy that can catch and shoot the ball from 3, stand in the corner, do what he needs to do, but he's never going to overdo it. And that's why I think with Boogie Ellis coming off the bench, it can bring a different dynamic, just because Isaiah Collier kind of plays a little bit similar like Boogie Ellis. He's going to be attacking the basket when he needs to, shoot the ball when needed. So the fact that Bronny James is more of a role play type of player, he's not going to do too much, I think Bronny James would excel starting for this team. I know we haven't talked about it, but this team also has Kobe Johnson, who's been a pretty solid piece for this team. And I generally feel like this team needs a lot of improvements when it comes to the centers and the bigs on this team. I mean, when you have Kobe Johnson, who's a great defender, great player on this team, but when you have him, who's only 6'6", leading your team in rebounding, and you have guys that are bigger, meaner, stronger than him, I feel like that really brings a question of just what inside presence, what dominant presence are you bringing in the paint, and what are your centers doing on this team? I really thought that Arrington Page and their bigs was going to bring a different type of play style to this team, but that's something that we just haven't seen, unfortunately. Like I said, as the games go by, I really hope to see this portion of this team improve, but there's just a lot of things that needs to improve overall from this team. I think another important thing to also mention too, the fact that Bronny James is also on this team. I mean, when you have a guy like Bronny James, who's LeBron James' son, the cameras, the lights, everything is going to be on this team. All the cameras are going to be on this team every single game. It may impact some of these players. Some players aren't used to it. I know guys like Bronny James, Isaiah Collier, Boogie Ellis, they're probably used to it, but some of the other players might not used to be getting this amount of attention. So it potentially could impact this team overall as a whole. I mean, I know in the previous game, some people may have questions about if Bronny should have been at the end of the game. How is the coach going to figure that out? Obviously, whenever the son of LeBron James is on your team, he has to get minutes. Like, there's just no way that Bronny James should be at the bench at the end of the game. Or I know people may be questioning your position as a coach. What are you doing? Why aren't you playing him as a player? Just a whole lot of politics that could be going on in this team. But like I said, I'm not giving up on this team just yet. They still have Isaiah Collier, like I said, who's going to be a top pick in this draft. I'm a firm believer he's going to be one of the best point guards to come out of the draft in the last 10 years. Let's see what Bronny James can do as we progress through this season. Boogie Ellis is going to continue to do his thing. Hopefully the bigs on this team can find their role as well. But guys, overall, let me know your thoughts on this team, and I'll see you guys in the next one.